the things that we talk about here, and people don't realize, is that China is basically shut. You have huge stores in the airports. And I don't think people realize what zero COVID means. You can tell us.
Yeah, clearly every market around the world, governments are figuring out how they want to navigate this pandemic. And in China, they have a zero COVID policy. So if they have some number of citizens in a city that test positive for COVID, they shut down the entire city for a period and they test everyone so that they can identify, who has COVID, and they can then quarantine those people, and then they reopen the city. So there's constant waves of store closures and constraints created by that. But when you look at our stores in China, clearly international travel is really, really low right now. So our stores that are in airports and the international travel terminals are closed. And so that's weighing on comps. Stores that are in office districts are much slower than they used to be. But when you look at stores that are in residential or commercial zones, they are performing very well. They're comping positive. And more importantly, when we open a new store in China, it is performing at some of the highest in unit volumes and return on invested capital of any of the prior classes of stores we've built. So we're leaning in. We're building roughly 700 net new stores a year in China. They're performing extremely well. And at some point, as this pandemic subsides and we go back to more normal cadence of living, we're going to be well positioned in China, and there is a long runway of growth opportunity ahead for Starbucks in that market.
Nobody. That certainly sounds right, but I do wonder, Kevin, it's David. How about visibility? I mean, you say at some point they seem to have this zero COVID policy. They can keep it in place for a long time, and it's not clear that COVID is ever truly going away. So, how do you get any visibility into what you're talking about?
Well, I tell you, the indicator for me is how these new stores are performing. We're building stores in cities that Starbucks hasn't been before, and they're performing extremely well. The benchmark then also says when we see what's happening with stores in residential or commercial districts, they're performing extremely well. And so this is just navigating, the global pandemic. And I think we're playing the long game, and we believe that's in the best interest of all stakeholders relative to Starbucks in China.